Rocky II is more than just a sequel. It's a piece of cinema history that almost never happened the way we know it. From Sylvester Stallone's real-life struggles bleeding into the script, to behind-the-scenes accidents, to strange Hollywood choices that could have changed everything, Rocky II has some truly weird and surprising facts. Today, we're going to step back into the ring and uncover 10 little-known details that will make you see this movie in a whole new light. Stallone took over as director. Originally, John G. Avildsen, the director of the first Rocky, was supposed to return for Rocky II. But creative differences and scheduling conflicts led Sylvester Stallone to take the director's chair himself. At that point, Stallone was still relatively new to Hollywood, and directing such a high-profile sequel was a big risk. Many doubted his ability to pull it off, but he proved himself by delivering a film that not only matched the original's tone, but also expanded Rocky's story in a meaningful way. It was the movie that solidified Stallone as more than just an actor. Stallone's health was in danger. While filming Rocky II, Sylvester Stallone wasn't in the best physical condition. Years of intense bodybuilding and injuries from previous films had left him in rough shape. On top of that, he pushed his body to extreme limits for the fight sequences. Stallone later admitted that the brutal training and filming schedule nearly destroyed his health. Despite that, he powered through to give a performance that fans remember as even more emotional and physical than the first film. Rocky's struggle to get back into the ring mirrored Stallone's own personal fight behind the camera. The famous chicken scene was real. One of the most memorable training moments in Rocky II is when Mickey makes Rocky chase a live chicken to improve his speed. What many people don't know is that this wasn't staged with a trained bird. It was entirely real. Stallone actually had to chase chickens around until he caught them. It was exhausting, messy, and hilarious for the crew to watch. The scene wasn't just for laughs either. It added realism to Rocky's training and symbolized his willingness to do anything, no matter how humiliating, to prepare for the fight against Apollo Creed. Burgess Meredith hated the chicken scene. Speaking of chickens, Burgess Meredith, who played Mickey, wasn't thrilled about the idea. He thought the scene was silly and beneath the serious tone of the film. In fact, he even argued with Stallone about including it. But Stallone insisted that it would become an iconic moment, and he turned out to be right. Today, that training sequence is one of the most beloved parts of the Rocky franchise. Meredith eventually embraced it, but at the time, he thought the whole thing was a little embarrassing for a boxing movie. Stallone and Carl Weathers actually hit each other. The fight sequences in Rocky II look incredibly real because, in many cases, they were. Stallone and Carl Weathers, who played Apollo Creed, agreed to throw some real punches to make the choreography more believable. This led to multiple injuries, including Stallone suffering broken ribs and Weathers dealing with bruises and swelling. The two actors went through grueling training to perfect the fight, and by the end of filming, they had enormous respect for each other's toughness. It's one reason why the final showdown in Rocky II still feels like one of the most authentic boxing matches in film history. Stallone's wife almost played Adrian. Talia Shire famously played Adrian in the Rocky series, but for a brief moment, it was almost someone else. Due to contract disputes and scheduling issues, there was a chance that Stallone's then-wife, Sasha Jack, could step into the role. Stallone reportedly considered this option seriously, since she had acting experience and knew the character well. Luckily, the issues were resolved, and Shire was able to return as Adrian, delivering one of her most memorable performances. Her iconic "Win Rocky" line became the emotional turning point of the movie, and it wouldn't have been the same without her. The baby in the movie was Stallone's real son. In Rocky II, Rocky and Adrian have a baby boy. And in some scenes, the baby you see is actually Sylvester Stallone's real-life son, Sergio Stallone. Stallone wanted a natural connection in those tender father and child moments, and using his own son made the scenes feel more authentic. Unfortunately, life would later bring tragedy when Sergio was diagnosed with autism at a young age. But in Rocky II, those short appearances added another layer of realism and emotional depth to Rocky's journey as both a fighter and a family man. The run through Philadelphia was chaotic. The famous scene of Rocky running through the streets of Philadelphia wasn't as smooth as it looked on screen. In fact, It was completely chaotic. Stallone decided to shoot it guerrilla style, meaning no permits and no professional extras. Many of the people you see joining Rocky on his run were just real locals who spontaneously joined in. By the time Rocky reaches the top of the steps, hundreds of kids are running with him, completely unplanned. It gave the sequence a raw, authentic energy that no amount of Hollywood planning could have achieved. The film almost had a darker ending. Believe it or not, Rocky II almost ended very differently. Stallone originally considered having Rocky lose the fight again, keeping the story more grounded and bittersweet, but the studio pushed for a happier, more triumphant ending, believing audiences wanted to see Rocky finally claim victory. Stallone eventually agreed, and the decision paid off. The ending, with Rocky shouting, "Yo, Adrian, I did it," has become one of the most iconic moments in film history. Still, it's interesting to imagine how the Rocky saga might have changed if the sequel had ended in defeat. Rocky II saved Stallone's career. By the time Rocky II was released, Stallone was in danger of becoming a one-hit wonder. His attempts to branch out into other films after the first Rocky had failed at the box office, and many critics doubted his staying power. But Rocky II was a massive success, proving that Stallone wasn't just a lucky newcomer. It cemented him as both a box office star and a legitimate filmmaker. Without Rocky II, Stallone's career might have ended almost as quickly as it began. Instead, it launched him into the 1980s as one of Hollywood's biggest icons.